Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the English Hustle podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Maria. Today's episode is all about something super exciting and maybe a little bit nerve-wracking. University life.
Yes, we know this is a big topic for many of you, especially if you're preparing to start university or you're already there and trying to adjust. So, we're here to dive into what it's really like.
We're going to cover everything, from the things we didn't expect to those little details that make university life special. And don't worry if you're a beginner in English. We'll keep things simple so you can learn and enjoy at the same time.
Absolutely. And by the end of this episode, you'll also pick up some useful English phrases and vocabulary about university life. Plus, we've got some fun stories and surprising facts about university traditions around the world.
It's going to be a packed episode. We'll start with some vocabulary to get you ready. Then move on to our main conversation about what university life is like. And as always, we'll include a little story that we hope will inspire you.
And if you like a good laugh, stick around. We have some really funny, maybe even slightly embarrassing university stories from our friends.
And of course, we've added some dialogue practice and exercises for you to really build your confidence.
So, whether you're getting ready for your first day on campus or just curious about what it's like, this episode is for you.
And hey, maybe you're not even sure if university is the right step for you. We'll touch on that too.
We're so excited to get into this, so let's dive right in. Ready, Maria?
Ready, Alex. Let's get started with some vocabulary to set the stage for university life.
In this vocabulary segment, we'll go over some common words and phrases related to university life. These words will help you understand and talk about your experiences at university. Let's get started. The first word is campus. It means the grounds or buildings of a university or college. Example, the campus has a library, a gym, and many classrooms. The second word is lecture. It means a talk or speech given by a professor, usually to a large group of students. Example, I have a lecture in biology every Monday. Professor definition, a teacher at a university. Example, my professor is very knowledgeable and explains things clearly. Fourth semester. Definition, a period of study, usually lasting about 6 months, in which courses are taught. Example, this semester, I'm taking history and literature. 5. Tuition definition, the fee or money paid for instruction at a university or college. Example, my tuition fees are due at the start of each semester. Sixth dormitory, dorm. Definition, a building where students live on campus. Example, I live in a dormitory with 3 roommates. 7. Assignment. Definition, work given to students to complete outside of class. Example, I have an assignment due next week. 8. Degree. Definition, a qualification given to students after completing a course of study. Example, I'm studying to get a degree in computer science. 9. Library. Definition, a place where books, computers, and study spaces are available. Example, I go to the library to study for exams. 10th exam. Definition, a test that students take to show what they have learned. Example, I have an exam in mathematics tomorrow. 11th. Scholarship definition, a financial award given to students to help pay for their education. Example, I received a scholarship to help with my tuition. 12th study group. Definition: a group of students who meet to study together. Example: my study group meets every Friday. 13. Credits. Definition: points earned by completing courses required to graduate. Example: I need 120 credits to complete my degree. 14th major. Definition: the main subject a student focuses on in their studies. Example: I am majoring in psychology. Try using these new words when talking about your own university experience or your goals for university. Thank you for joining our vocabulary segment. Maria, there are different types of universities, right? Like public and private.
Yes, exactly. Public universities are usually funded by the government, so they might cost less. Private universities are funded by private organizations and can be more expensive.
Let's walk through a typical day. Usually, you start with morning classes around 8 or 9 a.m.
Yes, and between classes, students often grab a coffee, meet friends, or study in the library. And there's usually some time for lunch around noon.
Let's talk about campus. Maria, how would you describe it?
A campus is the place where university buildings are located, like classrooms, libraries, and dormitories where students live.
University isn't just about studying. It's also about meeting new people and joining activities.
Yes, and many universities have clubs for all kinds of interests. Sports, music, languages. Joining a club is a great way to meet friends.
One challenge many students face is time management. There's a lot to do in a short time.
That's right. It helps to plan your week, set small goals, and take breaks.
So, today, we've talked about university types, daily routines, social life, and challenges.
Yes, and remember, university is a time to learn and grow, both academically and personally. Thanks for joining us.
University can be such an exciting time, but it's also full of new challenges, right?
Totally. I remember when I first started, I had all these expectations about what university would be like. Some of them were true, but others, not so much.
Yeah. I think we all have those first day of university jitters. You imagine it'll be like the movies, but the reality is often a little different.
Definitely. So let's dive into some of the things we wish we'd known before starting university. Maybe it'll help our listeners who are just starting out.
So, Maria, what was one of the biggest surprises for you when you started university?
Oh, good question. I'd say one of the biggest surprises was how independent you have to be. In high school, teachers kind of guide you along, but in university, you're on your own for a lot of things.
That's so true. Nobody is there to remind you about deadlines or push you to study. You really have to stay organized.
Exactly. I learned that the hard way with my first few assignments. I thought I'd have so much time to do everything, but those deadlines creep up fast.
Yeah, deadline shock is real. I ended up using a planner for the first time in my life.
I know. I still remember your planner covered in sticky notes and random doodles, but hey, if it works, right?
Yep. So for anyone listening, my advice is find a way to keep track of your tasks that works for you. It could be a planner, an app, or even just a notebook.
Now let's talk about making friends. Did you find it easy to make friends when you started?
Honestly, it took me a while. At first I was shy, but then I realized that most people are also looking to make friends. You just have to be open and maybe take that first step to say hi.
Exactly. I used to think everyone already had their friend groups, but that's rarely true. One thing I found really helpful was joining clubs and activities. That way you meet people who have similar interests.
Good tip. Clubs can really help you find your people. I joined a film club, and it was one of the best decisions I made.
Yeah, and for our listeners, even if you don't have clubs at your university, try to attend events or study groups. It can make a big difference.
Speaking of social life, I think one of the hardest parts is finding a balance between studying and having fun. How did you manage that?
It's tricky. For me, I made sure to set aside specific times for studying, and then I could relax and hang out with friends without feeling guilty.
Smart. I used to feel guilty about going out if I had work to do, so setting aside time for both sounds like a great idea.
Exactly. And I'd tell anyone listening not to be too hard on yourself. It's okay to have fun as long as you're keeping up with your studies.
Right. University is about learning, but it's also a time to enjoy and make memories.
So, Alex, did you ever feel homesick?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in the first few months. It's normal to miss home when you're in a new place with new routines.
Definitely. I remember calling my family almost every day for the first few weeks, but over time it got easier.
Yeah. For me, it helped to make my dorm room feel more like home. Little things like photos or even just a familiar blanket made a big difference.
That's a great idea. I think for anyone feeling homesick, it's important to remember that it's normal. You're not alone, and it usually gets better with time.
Another big part of university life is getting used to professors' expectations. They can be so different from high school teachers.
Definitely. Professors don't usually check up on you as much, so it's really up to you to ask questions if you don't understand something.
And don't be afraid to go to office hours. I used to think professors would be too busy, but they're actually there to help.
Yes. Taking that extra time to talk with professors can make a huge difference. They appreciate it when students show they care about learning.
Absolutely. Also, for anyone listening, try to find a study method that works for you. Some people like studying in groups, while others prefer studying alone.
Great advice. It's all about finding what fits your style best. And don't be afraid to experiment with different methods.
All right, Maria, before we wrap up, what would you say to anyone just starting university?
I'd say, remember that everyone is just figuring it out too. You don't have to have everything perfect. Give yourself time to adjust and enjoy the journey.
Well said. University life has its ups and downs, but it's such a unique experience. So, take it day by day and don't be too hard on yourself.
And for our listeners out there, we're cheering you on. Whether you're just starting or already in the middle of it, know that you've got this.
Absolutely. And that's it from us today on the English Hustle podcast. We hope you enjoyed this chat and that it helped a bit.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget to follow us for more episodes and feel free to reach out if there are topics you'd like us to cover.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. University life is such a unique experience, and now we thought it would be fun to share some interesting facts about it. Some of these might surprise you.
That's right. So let's kick things off. Alex, did you know that some of the oldest universities in the world are still around and accepting students?
Really? I knew there were old universities, but they're still functioning?
Yep, the University of Al-Qarawiyyin in Morocco, for example, was founded in 859. It's the oldest continuously operating university. Can you imagine walking the same halls as students from over 1,000 years ago?
That's amazing. And it makes me think about how many people have sat in those classrooms and felt the same excitement or nervousness about exams.
Right. Speaking of exams, here's a weird fact. In some universities in the UK, there's a tradition where students can bring in a lucky item to exams, something like a teddy bear, hat, or even a stuffed animal.
No way! I could have used that during my exams. Maybe if I'd brought my lucky pen, I'd have done better.
You and me both. But I guess it's about comfort. University life has so many traditions. Like, at some colleges in the US, there are midnight scream traditions during finals week.
Oh, I know that one. It's where students go outside at midnight and scream as loud as they can to release their stress. Sounds pretty therapeutic, right?
It does. And it's a reminder that university is not just about studying. It's also about finding ways to cope with the pressures. Speaking of which, did you know that naps are actually encouraged at some universities?
I like this fact already. Tell me more.
Some campuses have nap pods or designated nap areas, especially during exam season. They're realizing that students who get rest perform better.
I can totally see that. I used to nap all the time in the library, though, not sure that counts as an official nap area.
Same here. Okay, here's another fun one. At a few universities in Finland, students get to wear colourful overalls, called student overalls, and each colour represents their field of study.
That's awesome. So you could tell who was studying what just by their overalls?
Exactly. And they even trade patches with each other to add to their overalls. It's like a unique badge system, showing off your university experiences.
I wish we had something like that. It's a fun way to bond and represent your field. Any other interesting facts?
Yes. In Japan, some universities have robot guides to help students find their way around campus. And some even have robots that serve food in the cafeteria.
That's so futuristic. University life is definitely changing. I wonder if we'll see more campuses doing that around the world.
I wouldn't be surprised. And here's a fact that's a bit more historical. Did you know that in the past, students at Oxford and Cambridge in England used to have to carry swords as part of their dress code?
Swords? That's intense. So they went to class prepared for anything.
Yep, times have definitely changed, but it's fascinating to see how much history some universities carry with them.
Absolutely. Here's another fun one. At certain universities in Canada, they have something called Frosh Week, which is basically a huge welcome week full of activities, competitions, and themed parties for freshmen. It's like a crash course in university culture.
That sounds like a blast. So much about university is about creating memories and making new friends. I think these traditions and fun facts make the experience richer.
Totally agree. So, for anyone out there listening and heading to university soon, remember, it's not just about classes and grades. There are so many traditions and unique experiences that make it memorable.
Exactly. We hope you enjoyed these fun facts about university life. If you have any fun traditions at your university, let us know. We'd love to hear about them.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Remember to make the most of your university experience and, most importantly, enjoy it. Maria, what is university, and how is it different from high school?
Good question, Alex. University is a place where people go to learn after finishing high school. It's different because you usually focus on one specific subject, like science, business, or arts, and it gives you more freedom. You choose your own classes, and sometimes you even make your own schedule.
Right. And because you're choosing what you study, it can feel exciting but also a bit overwhelming. Let's talk about classes. How are classes in university different from high school?
Well, one big difference is that university classes are often larger, and some are held in big rooms called lecture halls where a professor talks and students listen and take notes. Not every class is like this, but it's common in the first year. And sometimes you don't have class every day for each subject, just once or twice a week.
Yes, that's an important point. In high school, you have classes every day, right? But in university, you might only have 3 classes in a day or sometimes even 1 or 2.
True, but that doesn't mean you have less work. You get more independent study time, which means time to study by yourself. University requires a lot of reading and research outside the classroom.
And speaking of independent study, what are some good study tips for university students?
One good tip is to find a study routine that works for you. For example, if you focus better in the morning, try studying then. And use a planner or calendar to organize your time. University assignments can be longer, and it helps to plan when to start and finish them.
I agree. And a tip I like is to break down big tasks into smaller steps. For example, if you have to write a big essay, start by writing a plan, then write a little each day. It helps reduce stress and makes studying easier.
That's a great idea. Now, Alex, what about making friends? Many people worry about making friends in university. Do you have any advice?
Yes, making friends in university can be easier than you think. You're in classes with people who share your interests, so try talking to people sitting near you. You can ask about the class, the assignment, or even what they think about the professor.
And many universities also have clubs or student groups. Joining a club can be a fantastic way to meet people. There are clubs for sports, art, books, and even for learning new languages.
Absolutely. Clubs are a good place to find people who enjoy the same things you do. And don't be afraid to ask someone to grab coffee or study together. Sometimes people are just waiting for someone to reach out.
Definitely. Now, Alex, we've talked about studying and friends, but what about balancing everything? University life can be busy. How can students find time for both studying and relaxing?
Good question, Maria. Balancing time in university can be tough, especially when you have assignments and maybe even a part-time job. My tip would be to set aside specific times for studying and other times for relaxing or doing things you enjoy.
That's great advice. And I'd say, don't be afraid to take breaks. Even when you're studying, take a short break every hour. Go for a quick walk, have a snack, or listen to music. It can help you feel refreshed and ready to focus again.
That's important. Breaks can keep you from feeling tired and help you stay motivated. And remember, university is a time to learn and grow, so try to enjoy the journey, even when things get busy.
Well said, Alex. And remember, if you ever feel stressed, many universities have support services like counselors or tutors. They can help you with study skills or even personal issues.
Yes, don't hesitate to reach out if you need help. University can be challenging, but you don't have to face it alone.
Exactly. So let's quickly recap what we talked about today. We covered the difference between high school and university, tips for studying, making friends, and managing your time.
That's right. We hope these tips help you feel more confident about university life. Remember, it's a time to learn, explore, and grow, so make the most of it.
And we'll be here with you, providing tips and conversations to help you along the way. Thanks for joining us today, everyone.
Well, Maria, it's been an insightful conversation today about university life. I hope our listeners are feeling a bit more prepared and excited.
Absolutely, Alex. We covered everything from choosing courses, balancing social and academic life, managing time, and making the most of campus resources. There's so much to look forward to in university, but it helps to have a few tips in mind.
For sure. And remember, university life is unique for everyone. Don't feel pressured to have everything figured out right away. It's all about exploring, learning, and growing at your own pace.
That's right. And mistakes are part of the journey. If you mess up an exam or miss a social event, don't beat yourself up. University is as much about personal development as it is about academic success.
Great point. And speaking of growth, I'd say one of the most valuable things is building connections, whether it's friends, professors, or people you meet through clubs and activities. University is a unique environment where you'll meet people from all kinds of backgrounds. Take the chance to learn from them.
Yes, building connections can really open doors and provide support throughout your university journey. Also, remember there are always resources available if you feel overwhelmed, like counseling services, academic advisors, or study groups.
So true. There's no shame in reaching out. University can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Each experience, big or small, will add to your story.
And one last piece of advice: have fun. University is an exciting phase of life. Try new things, join activities, and make memories. You'll look back on these days with a smile.
Couldn't agree more, Maria. So to all our listeners, we hope you feel ready to embrace your university life with confidence and curiosity. You're about to start an amazing chapter. Make the most of it.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you enjoyed this episode or found it helpful, please share it with others who might benefit from it.
And don't forget to subscribe to the English Hustle podcast for more beginner-friendly episodes like this one.
Until next time, take care, stay curious, and enjoy the journey.
Bye, everyone.